Hi, I'm Matthew and welcome to the Apex Suspects. Today I'm joined by my friend Will. As you know him from the Nürburgring video with his lovely E36, and today we are building what we'd call the ultimate E36 engine, aka
Poor man's M3.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we've got all the bits laid out on the table as you saw by some lovely B-roll, and we're going to see what we can do. Some of you might recognise this car from the Nürburgring video with Will. A few changes, such as these BBS CHs, Will's Dream wheels, from the Apexes, which is the generic go-to E36 wheel. However, what were they, Will? They actually fit somewhat.
I had the poor man's Apexes and they weren't good enough, so I bought the slightly less poor man's BBSs. But they fit and they're 8.5J wide, so I can run a bigger tyre, which will definitely be needed for the extra power we're putting into this engine currently. A bit of backstory with this car: we found out a while ago that unfortunately the engine was very unhealthy and it's burning a lot of oil and it's lowering the pressure. So yeah, basically decided to get rid of it and start again.
So Will, what are we building today? What are we replacing it with?
So we are building an M52 B30 stroker, so 2.8 block and head with ITBs, an M54 B30 bottom end and custom cams and M3 exhaust.
All of the braps. So we're now putting in the rod bearings for Will's engine. I know lots about these, owning an S65 myself. One piston down, 5 more to go. So what are we doing now, Will?
We're just checking the tolerances on the rod bearings to make sure they're within spec, and then we can reassemble it with new bolts and assembly lube. Now we're just torquing them to 20 Newton meters, and then they'll get an angle torque or an angle of 70 degrees.
No ugga-duggers around yet.
Just doing the first rod bearing, and it comes out in spec at 0.05 millimeters, which is in the upper end of the spec.
So after checking tolerances, lube up them bearings and put the cap back on.
So yeah, we're putting in new bolts as per the spec. These are stretch bolts and are one-time use, so they have to be replaced. Alright, so we made a slight mistake. We forgot to space the piston rings correctly. So they have to take out the pistons and change that. But thankfully I did order some spare rod bolts, so we can scrap those bolts and do it again and get back to where we started. So yeah, we'll see you in a minute.
And that's why the series is called Two Tools Using.
So yeah, when it comes to the rings, you want to space them out equally. So one here, around here, and around here. So like Mercedes logo, 3 equally spaced points. Otherwise, the gaps will be in line and everything, all the oil will just pass straight through.
So we are currently going back on our mistake. As I said, this is why the series is called Two Tools, trying to use tools, because, well, we haven't done this before.
in.
So, last piston going in. So, last tolerance.
Yeah.
Are we all in spec?
Yeah, just a hair tighter than 0.05, so that's in spec again. And they're all exactly the same, so very good.
Nice and consistent.
Nice and healthy crank, as I expected. Cool.
Picture for evidence. So we are personally cleaning it because we'd rather it not being there.
Yeah, that's good.
That's still lubed enough. I have cleaned the lid off.
If it blows up, it's your fault now.
So we're now all done, and just to see if it still turns and done everything right. Well, there's no nasty noises, so that's good.
Looks good to me, everything's torqued and checked, all the tolerances are good. and it still spins freely. So it leads us on to the next part.